Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thanksgiving week. So, we thought it would be a really good idea to discuss gratitude. And I'm here with Dave, my co host. Dave, what's going on, man?
Jonathan, what's up, buddy? Good. How are you, my man?
Good, good. So, here's a couple things. I have personally, I'd say the last 6 months, I have been more, I've been praying a lot more, getting a lot closer to God than, uh, than a lot of times in my past. Maybe it was the thing that happened on the boat that kicked that off. I'm not sure. But a part of praying is having a lot of gratitude, and one of the things that it's hard to have jealousy, it's hard to have animosity, it's hard to hold negative emotions when you are grateful for what you have and for the opportunities that you have, right? And a lot of times when people go off the rails or when they make these big mistakes, it's because they're not practicing gratitude. All right. I'm not here to say that it's going to solve all of your problems. It's not going to solve world hunger. Okay. But it definitely will solve and help you deal with and handle your mindset, especially when it's a negative mindset, because that negativity will seep into more things than you realize and will actually destroy everything from the inside out. As opposed to being grateful, you kind of block all out those negative emotions out. At least that's how I feel, right? That's how it works for me. All right, Dave, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, man. I mean, one of the best things that somebody ever told me one time. I'm sure they heard it from somewhere, but the natural state of a garden is weeds, right? And the natural state of the mind is negativity. And a lot of times, man, we forget where we started and where we were to where we are now, and it's not really as bad as it seems. And when you take a step back, you give thanks, you do have that faith or spirituality that you're stepping in, you believe wholeheartedly, those good things are going to start coming to you. And I think you have to always reflect as to where you came from, man, to give thanks. It's something I've been practicing a lot because we're just moving with so many massive parts coming together, and it just some days it doesn't feel like it's clicking at all. And then I write down a lot. I look back, especially over the last couple of years, like just journaling stuff, and look at, hey man, when we started this thing, like, we were in our basements and the world was going to hell, and that now, like, look at from there to where we are now, give thanks. And it's also put us in front of other people, man, to create other strong bonds, relationships, and most importantly, other people of faith to kind of lean on too, so it's just, man,
Yeah,
praise everything, man. As cliche as it sounds, it's really that simple.
yeah. Listen, I get that. I think it does boil down to mindset. It does help a lot. There are certain people that, you know, it's harder for. I would say that when I first started, it was a lot harder for me.
Mhm.
Okay, because I'm always a what's next person. Like always, my whole life, I've been what's next. Okay, even after a nice, like a big accomplishment, what's next? What's the next hill to fight on? What's the next mountain to climb?
Mhm.
Like I was always looking at what's next, and that I don't think that's a bad mindset. I still do that, but I do really, really try to mix in and practice gratitude along the way because it helps you kind of recite and recenter. You know, like I'll tell you this: like this weekend, we had a great weekend, great weekend. But it was a lot of work, but it was more work on the personal side. Okay, and so I had some. I was grateful because my Rolodex and my connections and how hard I've worked for the past 6 months allowed me to do something that a lot of people don't do. I'm not going to talk about it. I got to do some really cool shit this weekend with my family. Okay. Um, and I think that was awesome, right? And it's having that mindset and being able to understand why you do things and the manner in which you do things. And it's also like if you don't, like we always talk about what example we're leaving, right? If you don't teach your kids how to do this is a skill that not a lot of people actually know, or not a lot of people actually practice today, right? So if you don't show your kids how to be grateful for things, that's something that it's going to be much harder for them to learn on their own. Like I'm just telling you guys, it's not an easy thing. It's very a lot of people don't do it. Like I'll tell you what, and I'm not expecting anyone to go crazy, but holding the door, like that's a simple thing, right? Saying thank you. When a waiter or waitress drops something off at your plate or at your table, saying thank you, like please and thank you. And now we're getting into like courteousness, but like this is the reason I'm going here is like this is where it starts, guys. It starts with the little things. It starts in conversation, and then conversation carries the actions, and actions lead to habits, right? And then those habits are what form, and now your kids have it, or you have it, or your circle has it, right? So you have to start somewhere. Does that make sense, guys? Hopefully.
Yeah, and I think also, you're teaching them to be good people, because it seems like, and hopefully that changes, but it seems like we lost that along the way. How to be courteous, how to be respectful, simple gestures, man, that goes a long way. Also the law of reciprocity, man. You're gonna give out asshole energy, you're gonna get asshole energy back. Like it's it's simple, man. And just being, hey, thank you so much. Like, thank you for serving us. Oh, I'm sorry, your food came out incorrectly. Oh, it's okay. Mistakes happen. Or, oh my God, you're the worst person in the world. Like, you shit on somebody, man. And I don't want to get too far sideways out of here, but it just shows like what kind of person you are, that energy that comes back. They could already be having a bad day. And it's like, listen, that's okay. Shit happens. We can fix it. It's all good.
That's a perfect point. I'll give you a good one. Okay. I will give you a good one. And I think this was the universe or karma, like just coming back in full swing. Right. So I took my, after we were done with one of the days. Okay. We all went out and like, we were all tired. Right. So Marissa, we didn't want to cook. We just went to a restaurant that we never would normally go to. And it's like a chain, but it's a decent chain, like Ford's Garage. Like what you're getting. We sit down. We ordered a bunch of appetizers, and not necessarily healthy shit either. This is probably the worst I've eaten in a very long time. It was very much fried food. Okay, so we get buffalo cauliflower. No, I'm serious though. We got buffalo cauliflower as one of the appetizers, which 90% of them were awesome. I get to this last one, that's this big one, right? Mm-hmm. And I can't get it on the fork. I'm like, what's going on? Like, why is this happening? So I finally get it with two things, cut it, eat it, figured it out. Like the inside was frozen. Oh, like they didn't cook it and it was bigger, right? So all the other ones were cooked. I could have like made a stink, but I saw that this nice waitress, one of her other tables was giving her shit. And it was for nothing that was in her like control. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not even gonna say anything. I just let it slide. I'm not kidding you. They brought out the other two appetizers. We get done with them, and then out of nowhere, out of the kitchen, the waitress comes by and drops another thing of the.
No way.
And at this point, I didn't even want it. And then my wife looks up at her. She goes, you gave these to us already. She goes, yeah, but it already touched your table, so free food, enjoy. I'm like, we didn't want this, but cool. I mean, so you know what I mean? Like, it's just karma. Just give people a break sometime. Give people a break. The rest of the meal was great. She got a great tip. She gave great service, minus the one thing that she couldn't control. Now if I create a stink, what kind of a message am I sending in front of my kids, right? To give somebody shit if something isn't perfect. Okay, 90% of it was perfect. She had nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
So it's things like that, okay? And like not being a fucking Karen and just saying thank you and trying to make people's day better, like trying to be nice to a stranger. That shit actually multiplies. You know why it multiplies? Because no one does it. And if you do it today, you stand out, okay? And if you do it enough, you start building this positive fucking energy. And a lot of people like struggle with that, okay? I think everyone should try to do that, especially this week, guys.
Yeah, and I think when you do have attitude, like gratitude in situations like that, you are inclined to extend grace, right? When people shit the bed, so to speak. Like that lady probably wanted to clock out and get out of there as soon as possible.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, we've all been there.
You can't live life, and I don't care who you are. You're lying if you said you've never had like a day like that. And I know some people like they're like, oh yeah, man, life's perfect. It's like, oh, dude, stop. You're lying.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. If you first off, if you have a day like that, that's cool. Don't let a day turn into 3 days, turn into a week, right? And the other thing, the other part of that is like the quicker you practice gratitude, the quicker you can turn days like that around yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. Like one of my boys had a fucking pissy attitude after sat one of the nights. I'm like, dude, you control how you feel, right? I said you could come and you could have this stink face and you could be all pissy and do all this stuff, or you could have fun with everybody else. I said the choice is yours. It's not going to impact anyone but you. Okay. And if you keep carrying on and you keep doing these things, eventually you're going to lose more because you're going to make a mistake or you're going to do something you're not supposed to do. Right. That's just part of it, guys. Just that little control and that little gratitude saves you from a lot of mistakes.
100%, brother.
Cool. Well, I hope this helped you guys. We'll maybe catch you on Financial Fitness Friday. Probably. Got to see what time my son's game is.
Awesome, man. Other than that, happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving. Take care.
Joe. Great.
I totally forgot that this fucking thing was on. Still on.
Doesn't want to quit.